All right, today we are diving deep into the science of your neuromuscular system. We're going to unpack Dr. Andrew Huberman's incredible framework for building strength, sparking real muscle growth, and, maybe most importantly, mastering recovery. And listen, this isn't just for elite athletes. This is really a guide for enhancing your vitality for life.
Okay, so here's the game plan. We'll start with why muscle is so much more than just what you see in the mirror. Then we're going to get into how your brain is the ultimate command center for every single move you make. We're going to debunk a huge, decades-old myth about the burn and then lay out the exact protocols for training for strength versus size. After that, a super smart checklist for recovery, and finally, we'll cover the essential fuel your body needs to actually make it all happen.
So, first things first, why should we even care so much about muscle? Well, it's time to reframe how we think about it. Muscle isn't just for showing off or lifting heavy things. It's a critical, active organ that literally dictates our health, how long we live, and maybe more importantly, how well we live.
This quote really gets to the core of Dr. Huberman's philosophy. He makes this powerful argument that our brain, this unbelievably complex organ, evolved for one primary reason: to produce and control movement. Thinking, feeling, creating, all of it, in the end, serves our ability to physically interact with the world.
So muscle is anything but passive tissue. Obviously, it's for movement and stability, right? But it's also a powerhouse metabolism engine. It even acts like an endocrine organ, sending signals and communicating with your other organs. And this is crucial. It is a key predictor of longevity, your ability to stay functional and independent as you get older.
Okay, so if movement is the main goal, how does it actually work? Well, it all starts upstairs, with the nervous system. Your muscles don't just randomly decide to contract. Your brain is always the boss.
The control system is actually pretty elegant and simple. Think of it like a chain of command. When you decide, I'm going to pick up that cup of coffee, that's your upper motor neurons firing in your brain. They send a command down to the lower motor neurons in your spinal cord. And those are the ones that send the final go signal out to the muscle. And for automatic stuff like walking, that's handled by central pattern generators, also in the spinal cord, that just keep that rhythm going.
And how is that final signal delivered? It all comes down to one critical chemical: acetylcholine. That's it. When a motor neuron wants a muscle to contract, it releases acetylcholine. No acetylcholine, no contraction. It is the absolute non-negotiable trigger for every single move you make. Simple as that.
All right, let's tackle one of the most misunderstood feelings in all of fitness, that intense burning sensation when you're really pushing hard. For decades, we've been told it's a bad thing, right? A toxic byproduct of hard work. But what's really going on in there?
So yeah, what is that burn? I bet if you ask 10 people, 9 of them will confidently say, oh, that's lactic acid. And they'll tell you it's a signal that your muscles are filling up with toxic waste and you have to stop immediately. But is that actually what's happening?
Okay, here's the reality check, and it completely flips the old story on its head. First off, humans don't produce toxic lactic acid. We produce a super helpful molecule called lactate. The burn you're feeling is actually from rising acidity in the muscle. And far from being a waste product you need to get rid of, lactate is actually the hero of the story. It shows up to solve the problem.
Lactate plays 3 incredibly positive roles. 1, it acts as a buffer. It actively reduces that acidity, which fights the burn. 2, it's a direct source of fuel, allowing your muscles to keep on contracting. And 3, and this is just amazing, it travels through your bloodstream and acts as a hormonal signal, telling your heart, your liver, and even your brain to step up their game and enhance their function. That burn is literally a beacon for benefits throughout your whole body.
So how do we use this information? You don't need to chase that burn in every single workout. The protocol is actually pretty simple. Aim to push to that level of intensity for just about 10% of your total training each week. That's the sweet spot. It's enough to trigger this powerful system-wide positive signal without just completely frying your system.
Now for the really practical stuff, the toolbox. Knowing how the system works is one thing, but how do we actually apply it in the gym? Well, it's absolutely critical to understand that training for pure strength and training for muscle size, what we call hypertrophy, are 2 totally distinct goals, and they require very different methods.
It all boils down to your intention. When you're training for strength, your only goal is to move a heavy load from point A to point B. Your brain gets super efficient and distributes that effort across many muscles to get the job done. But for hypertrophy, for growth, The goal is the complete opposite. You want to isolate a specific muscle, create intense, localized tension, and make it do all the work. It's the difference between just moving a weight and truly challenging a muscle.
And here's how those different intentions translate to your actual workout. For strength, you see it right there. You're using heavier loads closer to your 1-rep max. For hypertrophy, a much wider range of moderate loads can work, as long as that focus is on isolating the muscle. And notice the volume difference too. And while both require a ton of effort, hypertrophy demands that you take your sets consistently close to or even to muscular failure. That's what creates the stimulus for growth.
Okay, let's just boil this all down to the key numbers you need to remember. To maintain the muscle you have, you only need about 5 hard-working sets per muscle group per week. That's it. To actually grow, you're looking at a bigger commitment, 10 to 20 sets. And for power, for explosiveness, think jumping higher or sprinting faster, the secret is intentionally moving moderate to heavy loads with maximum safe speed.
Of course, you can have the most perfect training plan in the world, but the gains don't actually happen in the gym. All the adaptation, all the strength, all the muscle growth, it all happens during recovery. So how can you know if you're actually recovered and ready to go again? Here's a super simple, totally free tool you can use every single morning to measure your nervous system's readiness. It's called the CO2 tolerance test. You just take 4 controlled breaths, a 5th big inhale, and then you time how long you can possibly make that final exhale last. The time it takes you is a direct window into your recovery state. So if you can only exhale for less than, say, 25 seconds, your nervous system is likely stressed and under-recovered. Maybe take it easy that day. The 30 to 60 second range, that's a good sign you're ready to train. And if you're pushing past 65 seconds, your system is well recovered and ready for a really demanding session. Now this is a crucial point that so many people get wrong. After you work out, your body creates inflammation. And we think of inflammation as bad, but in this case, it's the signal that tells your body to adapt, rebuild, and grow stronger. Things like ice baths or popping an NSAID painkiller within 4 hours of training can actually blunt that signal. It can short-circuit the very gains you just worked so hard for. Finally, let's talk about fueling the machine. You've sent all the right signals with your training, you're managing your recovery, but your body still needs the raw materials to actually do the repair work and get stronger. Let's just cut through all the noise and focus on what the science strongly supports. Electrolytes, like plain old salt, are non-negotiable for your nerve cells to fire properly. Leucine is the specific amino acid that acts like a key, turning on muscle protein synthesis. Creatine is probably the most studied supplement on Earth, and it's proven to boost power output. And beta-alanine can be a real game changer for your endurance in those tough 1 to 4 minute efforts. So if there is one big idea to take away from all of this, it's this. Effective training is about so much more than just mindlessly moving weights around. The real key is understanding that you are intelligently directing your nervous system to send specific signals to your muscles to get a specific outcome, whether that's strength or size or power. And that brings us to our final question for you. After everything we've covered today, from your brain being the boss, to the truth about lactate, to the specifics of recovery, what is the one intentional signal you are going to choose to send your body this week? Thanks for watching.